everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
Where we, a couple of atheists, try to make sense of religion, politics, and all the other stuff in these United States.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about Vance Boelter. The
accused murderer.
Yeah. This
Vance
is the Minnesota legislator two legislators, one that was killed, one was shot, and their partners as well. And so it's quite the story, and we now know a little bit about this fellow. And
shockingly, Mike Lee might have gotten it wrong. We'll get to it.
Mike Lee was wrong? What?
I said shockingly.
This man's never wrong.
He's like the smartest guy I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Well, all right. We have some other stuff to get to before that. Things that happened this week. Some news, Dan, including, where do I start? Did you know, Dan, that Jimmy Swaggart's still alive? Did you know this?
No. Where's he been?
J
Swags. Where's J Swags been all this time?
As of this last week in intensive care, he's not alive for long, apparently. But yeah, he's like 90 years old.
I was going to say he's a very old man.
He's hospitalized in critical condition, and he had a heart attack. I guess just on June 15th. And I double checked, as of us starting to record, Wikipedia still has him listed as alive.
Okay.
So this is breaking news, everybody. Televangelist Jimmy Swaggart. If you don't know the name, because that's the end of like the news on like what's going on. I'm bringing up Jimmy Swaggart so that when you hear that he's dead, right, which should be coming very soon, if not by the time this recording actually hits the internet. If you don't remember, this is the guy who was caught in multiple prostitution scandals, which led to his eventual defrocking as like a televangelist. I don't know how that happened.
He was a
minister, and I guess that's what he was defrocked of. But he's the one who got onto television and did forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned.
Yeah,
little speech that was everywhere. It's an iconic late 80s television moment. And it was a fucking scandal, right?
Yeah.
Like it was nobody that I knew who he was before these scandals came out. But by and large,
what shocks me more than anything.
Oh, wait, what?
He didn't seem to really survive the scandal. All of the guys in the 80s had scandals, and they all just sort of like did whatever, like whoop-de-doo penance, and were kicked out of that church, and then they just start over.
Yeah.
And then you still have freaking Jim Baker out there hawking buckets.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between being completely shameless, right?
Yeah.
Like a Jim Baker type. Or maybe those tears, I don't know. They seemed pretty performative, of Jimmy Swaggart.
Yeah. They were
saying, I have sinned. But he has been serving as the pastor of the Family Worship Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for quite some time now. But yeah, you're right. He sort of fell out of national prominence. He went his way.
He just grabbed his millions of dollars and wept into those for a while.
I'm sure he made tons of money, and probably has continued to make plenty of money.
That's probably what happened. He just was like, oh, well, this is ruined. Oh, well, I'm still a millionaire. Everything's fine.
And like with a name like Jimmy Swaggart, he could be, who knows, like appearances, books, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the man still had a way to make a living and clearly did.
It's kind of shocking. The equally shocking thing is, you say he remained in ministry. We have not done a story about him. He has managed to fly entirely under the radar this whole time.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me.
That is why my note at the top of this article is like, wait, ... He's still alive?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, when I saw the headline, it legitimately was like, no fucking way. This man clearly must already be dead. No, it's amazing. It's going to be interesting when he does pass and we get to read his eulogy. Or not his eulogy. What do they print in the obituary?
Yeah.
And see like the story. Like what has he been up to? Because they'll cover that hopefully in the obituary.
Yeah.
But this is, be on the lookout, guys. When you see this headline, it's so sad.
I just Googled him, and one of the headlines that I saw was Jimmy Swaggart's son. Without a miracle, his time will be short. He's 90. With a miracle, his time's going to be short. How big of a miracle are you hoping for?
Eternal life on earth.
Right? He lives to 307. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to take us to an interesting study that was done, and it's a big study. This was done. It was a multi-year study by the Hartford Institute for Religion Research.
Okay,
and they had over 24,000 church-going respondents to a survey that they put out there. Of those 24,000 respondents, 46% of them were cheating on their church with another church.
Wait, what?
Basically, apparently, of church-going people who go to church, not just people who claim a religion or whatever, but of church-going people, almost half of them go to more church, do extra church.
What?
Isn't that nuts?
I mean, it sounds like a good way of hedging your bet, maybe.
Right? I mean, I guess if you're really into church, why limit yourself?
So these are people who go to church twice, or they're just people like in 1 week?
Here's the thing.
Or
they have their main congregation that they participate in. And then of those almost 50%, 22% of those physically go to another church on the reg. About 10% of them watch some sort of televangelist or TV or some sort of virtual broadcast.
Okay, sure. I don't know if that really counts, but okay.
And then 14% say that they do both.
Wow. Those people suck. I do not want to know those people.
I know. I mean, imagining what the people are, who the people are who are like, you know what, one church a week is not sufficient for my needs.
Here's the deal. Like, if they're really trying to like hedge their bets and being like, I need to make sure that like, because these people, they say they're right, and these people over here, they say they're right, but they kind of get things a little different, right?
Yeah.
Just enough. Like, they sprinkle and they do immersion. Like, ooh. Here's the deal, though. It's not Christian versus Christian that you should be hedging on, right? If you have accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior and he lives in your heart, right? Like, then what you need to be doing is like on Friday going to prayer over at the mosque.
Yeah.
And getting in good with Allah.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday,
get your Baruch Atah Adonai over at the synagogue. Yeah, you got to get it all in there.
And then on Sunday, go to the one that's like the most open about like just believe in Jesus and you're good. Are you saved? Yeah. You're saved. You're good, right?
Yeah. Learn a little Arabic. Learn a little Hebrew. Get everything you gotta get.
Yeah. And then
What if
you're
God
good.
speaks the wrong language and he hasn't understood you this whole time?
I know. Oh,
The thing that I'm wondering about is not people hedging, but rather like, either their lives are so sad and like this is their only way of getting social contact, which I wouldn't begrudge them in the world. So go get as much as you
that's
can.
what it is. Sure.
Or B, like, just if you only go once a week, then the voices in your head that are telling you, this might be bullshit. I don't think this is right. This isn't gelling. Then they don't quiet down quite enough. So you need to get a couple more hours in, however you can.
This is just to silence the voices.
It's to silence the inner atheist, the inner critic that's going, I don't know. Gay people seem fine. I don't know. You got to tamp it down. You got to pound it down.
Oh, golly, Dan. Well,
Anyway.
you never know. People are a little nutty.
People are very nutty.
Were there other strange outcomes from this study, or?
Not really. I mean,
that was the juicy one.
There are like discussions of like which mode of worship people prefer, including like 40% of the respondents are exclusively in-person church attendees.
Okay.
34 are primarily in person, and then it goes to a mixture of in-person and online. Only 3% are exclusively online attendees.
That's fascinating.
And 4% primarily online attendees. So so in person is still the way to church if you want to church.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, that's good stuff. I'm worried for these people, but whatever.
It seems a little. I will go through another impact, another finding of this thing.
Sure.
Which is what factors are bringing people, like new people, into a congregation.
Okay.
And the main one is not surprising to me, but it's like, it's not what everybody would initially jump to necessarily. It's just that it aligns with their already existing beliefs, which, that's a big one.
Shocking.
Yeah. and then after that, it's like welcoming atmosphere, worship experience.
Yeah. And
then way at the bottom, and this will shock the people who do like rock and roll church or whatever. Only 15% of people are there because of the programming, because of what's being programmed.
Oh. Okay.
Location's a big one. That's right in the middle.
So something not too far
It's
of a drive.
got to be near me.
Yeah. Has to be convenient.
Yeah.
Preferably right next to that little diner I like, so I can go after church. Yeah. All right. Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
Pride flags. They've been hitting the news a lot lately. People are upset. People who don't like a good pride flag get upset.
They get so mad.
Here's a story.
It's just such a lovely thing when people, you just want to say, oh, good, die angry. Have fun.
Well, over in the UK, specifically Derbyshire, the council, the town council, has received and complied with, I guess, a complaint about a pride flag that the council had hung up along their little cute street, where they put up flags along all above, like all the different shops and whatever that's along, restaurants and whatnot that's along the street. They've been hanging like, I guess traditionally like Union Jack, and I think that was the main thing that they used to fly. But this year they decided to mix it up a little bit, and they're including a Derbyshire flag and pride flags, all mixed in. So all three is sort of my understanding of what's of the setup of their little summer flag program in this town. And it's meant to just like be festive and cute and whatever. Well, anyway, there was a Christian bookshop along the main drag, and they complained about the pride flag that had been hung up, I guess, directly like above or like whatever their little Christian bookstore.
Oh.
And the town council decided to remove the flag. And it caused a bit of a stir online and with the public. And I feel like it's the right thing to do.
To take down the pride flag?
I kind of do. I know that's not going to be a popular stance. People are screaming right now at Frank. And it turns out that the deputy mayor, Ashley Orwin, who is gay, according to this article, and there was also a photo of him in the article, and I, as a gay man, can confirm that Mr. Orwin is indeed very, very gay, and probably not the only gay in the village. And but he said that the complaint and the flag's removal had, in fact, supercharged support for the town's first Pride event, which is scheduled for next year. That all of a sudden there's now all of this extra interest, and there's been this upswing of support for the gay community in their area. Okay. And while people sort of are expressing sadness that the flag was taken down, other shopkeepers who are sort of nearby, across the street, adjacent, and it's sort of a little, a little sad. There was a queer shop owner immediately adjacent, said that she was initially confused as to where the flag had gone. And she says, "We were a bit saddened and disappointed that those sorts of views are held that strongly." I agree.
But by a Christian bookshop.
Which I don't know. And she says it was nice for the council to include the pride flags amongst the St. George and the Derbyshire flag. It's quite validating as a queer person to see the pride flag being included, especially in Pride Month. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And then
that's the whole point. I'm still waiting to hear why you think that was the right decision.
So I think that when you're winning, and I do think that gay people are winning on sort of the public opinion on the social front. We're just winning, right? Like the more of us that are out there in the world, the more people are just like, oh yeah, no big deal, right? And
I mean, if a gay man can be elected, what was it, like
he's
vice
like
mayor,
deputy mayor or something like that.
then where can't gay men go?
And this town has decided to nobody. There was no controversy effectively about including the pride flag. It was just this one little shop that said, "Hey, don't fly it above our shop." Right? They're not saying, "Oh, we're pissed off and you shouldn't be flying it anywhere." Okay. Right? They're like, "Just could you please take it down above our shop because it's confusing." Right. And it's not who we are. And could we fly one of the other flags, right, above our shop? Which apparently they're, as of this article and the way that it makes it sound, the answer is no. We're just taking the flag down, right? You're not a participant
for us anyway.
In this program. And so so just back to the idea of like, when you're winning, be a good winner, right? And maybe don't rub your opponent's face in the fact too much that you're winning, right?
Okay.
Like, I just think that like the tide is moving a certain direction on this issue. And so like, does it suck? Do I think they're shitty? Do I think their beliefs are shitty? Right? Like, yeah, I totally do. Like, I think that these Christian bookstore owners made the wrong decision, right, to protest this. The right thing would have been to just be like, oh yeah, well, that's obviously a city flag, right? But they didn't feel that way. And so what do? Right? Do you rub their face in it?
Okay.
That's my stance, right?
I hear you.
I think that like if this was, I don't know how you could change it for me, right? But like, as like as a gay man, I'm just like, like, can't we cut them a little slack? Like, aren't they gonna like they're gonna continue to be shitty? Can't we be nice to them, or do we give them reasons to like, just continue to find ways of hating gay people?
Fair enough.
Right? They made us fly that flag. God damn them, right? Like, it's like there's still gay pride flags up and down this main drag in this town.
Oh, okay. There are other flags out there.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't catch that.
No, I thought I was clear about that. Sorry.
You may have been. I may have been.
Yeah. They did not protest the flag in all of its positions, only in the position above their store.
Okay.
Right?
Well, there you go. So now I think you're a little bit less of a traitor to your people. So that's good.
I don't think it's being a traitor. Like,
I know, I'm just kidding.
And I don't think it's like I think that it's
I don't think there's a problem with
come on, do we all have to be so sensitive about everything, right? Like, and so like and that's, it's really just from this stance of like, because I had the reaction of like, oh well. And I had to like think about it for a minute. Like, why am I having this reaction of like, yeah, they probably should. And it's like, no, it just feels like we're winning. And maybe if it shifts and everything starts feeling a little more precarious, right? Again, then we need to fight, right? A little bit harder. But right now, keep fighting hard, but don't rub people's face in it. That's kind of where I'm at.
It does make it so much harder to hold your own bigoted stance when someone forces you to fly an inclusive flag. So I get it.
I mean, I have some quotes about that. They, in a joint statement, the store's trustees said, "The bookshop is an inclusive organization."
Wrong.
That wants to share the Christian faith with everyone. And we do not want to advocate or condemn anyone on the basis of their belief or sexual orientation. Like, okay. I don't know that I'm following.
Not sure I'm buying it.
As a Christian bookshop, we would have been delighted to have flown the Derbyshire flag, the flag of St. George, or the Union flag. I guess there's 4 flags in the mix. Yeah. Unfortunately, due to lack of initial consultation on the matter, we had to decline to fly the flag allocated to our shop. And I don't know that they were in so much control as to decline blah, blah, blah. Like, it sounds to me like the flag was hung up. They contacted the council and the council was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever.
We declined. Yeah, it does sound, declined to fly the flag sounds a lot better than whined and pissed about it.
Yeah, and I really do want to be clear about that. Like, I think they're totally in the wrong, right? Like, I'm not defending them on the stance of like their stance of being against the flag.
I know.
It's that I think we should be more gracious with people
and
each other. We have to live together, right? Ultimately.
Do we though? Can't we find a way?
They're not going anywhere.
No, they're not. And we're not either. All right. Well, I'm going to take us now to a much more tolerant place, Louisiana. I was kidding. It's not tolerant. Anyway, in Louisiana, one of the things that happened that we reported on is that they passed one of those damn gotta have 10 commandments in the schools laws.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was an immediate lawsuit because you have to. You can't just let it slide. Last week, we talked about one in, I think, Arkansas. Anyway, this is the Louisiana one, and it went, it went to court, and the circuit court ruling, the lower court ruling, was basically that the judge put they enjoined the enforcement of this law until it could be played out. They said, nope, you're not gonna, you can't do it until this goes through the system. And the state appealed this enjoinder.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to be able to go through with it right away and just have it up while the lawsuit went through.
Right.
And interestingly, the incredibly conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals took up the thing and affirmed the ruling, the lower court ruling.
Really?
Upheld the enjoinder. Now, this isn't they haven't won the case.
Right.
But
just saying, like, in the meantime.
Yeah, in the meantime, and just to be clear, like that lower court basically here's the quote. Here's the quote from the lower court. Oh no, this is from the appellate court. So this is actually a bigger deal.
Okay.
And this would have been, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a 3-judge panel of the appellate court,
sure.
I think.
Okay.
And they said, parents and students challenge a statute requiring public schools to permanently display the Ten Commandments in every classroom in Louisiana. The district court found the statute facially unconstitutional and preliminarily enjoined its enforcement. We affirm. So,
okay.
They called out the unconstitutionality of it on its face.
Yeah.
And affirmed that ruling. That is interesting.
Huh.
The state has declared that they are going to keep pushing the matter.
Jesus, of course.
Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill.
These are the important issues.
Yeah, right.
For these officials to be paying.
Real important.
Yeah, spending money and paying attention to.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, there's nothing more important in Louisiana. My guess is there is.
Louisiana's, it's a very wealthy state, so they can afford to just chuck around money as much as
I mean, they have a skyscraper in place of a state capitol. They must be just rolling.
Do they really?
Well, I'm calling it a skyscraper. They have a funny looking state capitol.
It's not a neoclassical building.
No, sort of in the place of a dome, they have a 10-story building.
Okay,
is how I remember
interesting.
it.
I need to look.
You
that
should
up.
look it up. It's I applaud. I applaud any state that does something a little different. Doesn't have a dome on their Capitol building. I love that.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I love Hawaii's state capitol. Oh. Good on you guys, Hawaii. Like, that thing is like brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm just vamping here.
Well, I know you are just off on a rant. Anyway,
I was feeling dead air. I don't know if do you have anything else?
Yeah, I was trying to get to it, but someone thought there was dead air to fill and was just rambling on about capitals.
You were looking at photos, Dan.
I looked and then moved back. Anyway, the Fifth Circuit, the state's going to attempt to take it to the Fifth Circuit en banc, which means like the entire circuit, because they presumably they think they got the liberal ones of the Fifth Circuit, which is
so liberal ones,
right? And then they, it sounds like they're willing to take it all the way to the Supreme Court, which is just so weird. Like,
fucking Lord.
You don't need to pursue the this enjoinder. Yeah. You can just pursue the lawsuit and not get not indoctrinate the kids quite as soon. Anyway,
good Lord. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
This is a story. I don't mean to scare everybody with this story, but it is maybe we get a little bit of a peek into some of the terrifying communications that make their way to Donald Trump. in these trying times, in this difficult time when he's trying to like figure out what he's going to do in response to the war between Israel and Iran, and how the United States might get involved and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Trump apparently received a text from Mike Huckabee, the delightful Baptist minister, once presidential candidate, now ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Israel.
Right.
So he sends Donald Trump a text that Donald Trump takes a screenshot of and posts onto Truth Social.
Oh, no.
And so that's how we know what Mike Huckabee texted to him.
Okay.
And he says, Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. I'm going to skip around a little bit here. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters, his voice. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Harry Truman in 1945. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes, ears, and voice, and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek the moment. This moment sought you. It is my honor to serve you.
What the fuck is this?
I have no idea what this is.
Like the grand suck up? Is that all that's happening right now? Because I am utterly confused.
It feels like it. It feels like maybe they didn't. He's not posting the screenshot of him saying, "Hey, Mike, I need like something from you. I want to post you to, a text from you saying X, Y, and Z."
Or they got into a little bit of a heated row, and like this is Huckabee like desperately trying to reclaim something.
The whispering of like God will speak to you, right? Listen to God, right? Like you know what to do. No president in my lifetime since Harry S. Truman, right? Which is a terrifying reference. Truman in 1945 dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
Twice, right?
Yeah.
And
that's not a comforting thought.
No. The like Mike Huckabee sees the potential decision that Trump needs to make in sort of nuclear terms.
Yeah.
So anyway, there were further posts that Trump made where he says he reveals that the United States knows where Iran's leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is. Right, he's saying that we know where he is, and that he is, quote, an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, and in parentheses, kill, exclamation point.
Yeah.
At least for now. And he's also called for, in all caps, unconditional surrender with one exclamation point. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where what's amazing about this is that we have a maniac for a president, and he doesn't know he's a maniac.
Right.
He thinks he's like playing 3D chess here.
Right.
But he's just,
But he's playing 3D chess with like some terrifying military power.
Right.
And
he's playing 3D chess with checkers that happen to be attached to nuclear weapons.
It's 3D checkers. That's what Donald Trump plays. 3D checkers.
How do you even king yourself in 3D checkers?
Wow.
You have to put it above the above. Anyway, It's all scary. The other thing that stands out to me in that is that I think it reads like Huckabee actually is a genuine believer.
Oh,
not a cynical believer like a JD Vance or something.
Right.
That's real believer talk.
I've never doubted Mike Huckabee's believer. Yes, right. Like, and that's one of the things. That's the funny thing about fake believers and real believers. They're both terrifying, but for wildly different reasons.
Yes, exactly.
Huckabee's a true believer. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to close us off with a really interesting little factoid that comes to us courtesy of Hemant Mehta over at the Friendly Atheist, who did a FOIA request. He's done this several years, for several times, since going back all the way to 2013, requesting sort of demographic data from federal prison systems and the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And what he was asking is sort of like, what's the religious breakdown of inmates? Now, there's a lot that plays into this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the temptation is to say that, like, if X demographic is underrepresented in prison, but based as compared to general population, then that means that they are less criminal or whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons why that's a problematic thing. Yeah. But I will say that yes, atheists are very much underrepresented in prison as compared to their representation in the general population, and that has been the case for a while.
Yeah.
But it might be. I was surprised by the number. Because atheists, self-identified atheists, and we're just saying people who literally tick the box for atheists,
right?
Not nuns, not
right.
I don't know any of that. Just the word atheist. In the general population, we're about 5% of the general population.
Right. Okay.
Care to take a guess as to what percent of the federal prison population atheists, self-identifying atheists?
I mean, because we're talking about it, I assume, I don't know, 1%.
It is 0.073%.
What?
It is a
okay
7/100ths of a percent. Is that right? Yeah.
How many zeros?
It's 0.073.
Yeah, 700ths. Yeah.
So that is a vanishingly small number.
Yeah.
That is a tiny number. Now,
I mean, when you consider the overall population,
right,
in our prisons,
yeah,
that is actually probably a lot of people. But
it's let's see, I have the number here. It's in the federal prison system,
right.
And that's just federal prisons. There are 155,000 inmates, and that doesn't even count state prisons, which is just. We have more incarcerated people than most countries have people. Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, so are there conclusions to be drawn? Or is there?
Well, I mean, it is interesting that, like, even if you add humanists to the bunch, you still don't make it anywhere near 1%.
Wow.
And, I think the other thing we need to understand is that, like, 35% of the inmates have no stated religious or non-religious label at all.
Okay.
So like also Catholics are underrepresented.
Yeah.
Protestants are 39% of America and only make up 17% of federal prisoners.
Okay.
Catholics, 19% of the population, but 12.5% of the federal inmates. So like everything's underrepresented. But except not Muslims. Muslims are 1% of the U.S. population and 9.6% of inmates. But that's probably more to do with, racism, with like built-in racism and Islamophobia in our system, And like a lot of this is like, it's hard to parse out because of systemic problems.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that atheists are demographically more likely to have money, and poverty is a good predictor of criminal behavior.
Right.
And also a good predictor of like being arrested for criminal behavior, because that's the other thing is
Right.
that these are only people who the system decided to pursue.
Right.
There are plenty of people who do criminal behavior who the system doesn't decide to pursue.
Right.
So there's so many factors that go into this. Atheists are are far more white demographically than the general population, and the prison, the criminal justice system loves to pursue brown people. So
Right.
there's just so many factors that you can't draw too many conclusions.
Yeah, it's really hard to suss it all out. The one thing, though, is if most everybody is underrepresented, everybody gets to walk away patting themselves on the back a little bit.
Right?
Right.
If you leave it at that, if
Yeah.
you just go with that, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, except for Muslims. But I mean, there's
Yeah.
also the phenomenon of Islam being the fastest growing religion in the prison system,
Yeah.
due in large part to prison conversions to Islam. There's a lot of conversion.
And that's
happens.
another thing. We don't know when these numbers, are these numbers at the point of intake?
Right. Yeah.
Are these numbers that they keep up? Do they re-ask the population in the prison periodically? Probably not.
But that does seem like it's unlikely. But maybe you're able to go and go back to your records and say, hey, I request a change.
Correct my records.
Yeah,
and
because
there are reasons to.
There would be reasons for the inmate to want to have their new religion be the official one on their records. Right.
Well, and reasons like if you are officially an X, then you get to participate in those
exactly
like the things in the prison, because they do get release time for church or for worship service of some sort. So, and also there are motivations to be religious in prison because it looks good to parole boards, or at least there's a perception that it does.
Right.
So it's a very complicated, very messy thing, but I do think 5% down to less than 1/100%.
Yeah.
Is such a huge drop that it feels. I didn't do the math to actually figure out like percentage drop of each of these demographics, but it feels like it's a big deal.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if you, dear listener, have anything you'd like to say about that, if you want to do that math, go ahead and send it in to us. But yeah, if you'd like to talk about any of the things that we've talked about, write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan.
we have had some listener missives. Not a lot. It's summertime, and I think people are out spending time with their families rather than writing to us.
Not in Australia. I'm looking at you guys.
Well, that's true.
Pick up the slack.
Come on, guys.
You have time because it's winter. This is Dan's running theory.
I know we have Aussies and Kiwis listening.
Yeah.
So come on, get on the stick here. We probably have some South Americans as well. Let's go with this thing. Anyway, Jim wrote into us to say, FYI, another great show, but a slight correction about Iran. You remember you talked about the doggies of Iran.
Yeah. That's right.
It's mostly Shia Muslims, not Sunni.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
Yeah. And also, Jim says, based on my 3 years in Saudi and Egypt, you're exactly right about the dog issue. In Riyadh, for example, no one owns a dog, and you rarely see them on the lamb, that is, a feral dog. However, cats are all over the place. Not so much as pets, but as street-side inhabitants, often just hanging out on dumpsters. The locals explained the dog aversion exactly as you reported. They consider them to have nasty hygiene.
Dogs are gross, but
Jim sent some pictures of some pretty gross-looking cats, to be perfectly honest. But
they're just street cats. They're alley cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Jellicle
the whole
cats,
Shia Sunni thing. I'm just gonna start just saying, that they're either Sunni or Shia. Like I'm not gonna. They're just Muslim. I have never bothered to keep it straight.
No, I've never bothered to even try to learn it just because I'm a jerk. And
I had literally just read an article that said what they were the majority in Iran, and it just went right through my head.
Yeah.
But all right, thanks for the correction on that.
Yes,
because we should be accurate.
We should be accurate. Well, and as you say, our form of accuracy is just not to use either of those words. Our form of accuracy is they are Muslim, and that's the end of that. Well, we have some folks to thank. I'm going to start us off. Susan, thank you so much. She is now we're going to say a teacher.
Nice.
In our lovely Deseret magic powers that we're doling out.
Indeed.
You have some folks as well.
I do, yeah, Dan. We have a new patron on Patreon, Solkar, who came in at the Prophet, Seer, and Revelator level.
Ooh, that's some fancy powers right there. Go out there and prophesy some stuff. You know what I mean? Like we endow you with magic prophecy abilities.
Yeah. Or see. So you could see something.
Go see and or prophesy. See it and then tell it.
And reveal.
If you see something, say something. Is the Prophet, Seer, and Revelator motto. So go out there and tell your family and friends like what they can expect in their futures.
Yeah, indeed. And if you'd like to join these kind people in supporting the show,
these intrepid explorers into giving us money,
you can do so by going to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/donate. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Well, Frank,
Dan,
as listeners will know, a week ago there was a spate of shootings that leading to a couple of deaths in Minnesota, and they fairly immediately figured out who it was, and then they recently caught Vance Boelter.
Yeah.
Who is, a suspect. We will say he has not been proven guilty of anything, but come on, Anyway, this is the guy that shot a couple of state senators and ended up killing 2 people.
Yeah.
State senators and their spouses.
Yeah. And one of those senators and their spouse died, and the other ones were just shot. Yeah.
So, Boelter, one of the immediate things that happened in the aftermath of the shooting, before anything was known about it at all, is that Frank, our intrepid senator, smartest man probably on the Senate floor, Mike Lee, immediately tweeted some bullshit about how it was a Democrat and then made fun of it and made jokes about it.
Yeah,
like immediately.
He's an absolute piece of shit.
He is the shittiest kind of shit. You know the shits that like,
oh, don't go there, Dan.
Smell extra bad.
We don't need the details about the shit. But yeah, he's poopy. Yeah. We don't like him.
He's the kind of piece of shit where you look at it and you go, when did I eat corn? Anyway, so that was a bad reaction. That was not okay.
Right.
But then information did come in, and now we know some things about Brother Boelter.
Yeah.
And I think our listeners, Frank, will not be shocked to learn that this was, in fact, a politically motivated, religiously motivated killer. This guy is I'm going to say probably not very successful minister.
Hey, he's international.
He is international.
So
in the sense that he inflicted his brand of, and I watched some videos, so I can say this with confidence. Really bad preaching.
So bad.
On people of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Like the poor translator. Did you see her just being like completely like, what the fuck am I having to repeat?
Literally at one point, he said something about like, and people in America, they don't know there's sex. And she looks at him like, wait, sex means different things. I don't really know what you're saying. And he just goes, and then he sees her trying, like her brain whirling, trying to figure out what to translate. And he goes, they don't know what, and he flips it, like he's trying to make a point about trans people, and he actually flips it to gay people, and like they don't know who they're gonna have sex with or whatever. It was a very weird. He's just not a bright fellow,
right?
Which should surprise no one, but he is. But it is like a little nutty that this guy. He was an active pastor, priest, minister of some sort at a church in the U.S.
Yeah.
And he's clearly a nutball. It's like one of those things where is it such that they'll just take anybody? Or I don't know how this works. I don't know how ministering works.
I honestly think that anybody can be a minister. Right. Legitimately, like you literally just sort of declare yourself to be a preacher. Maybe anyone can be a preacher, right? Yeah. And anybody, but yeah, anyone can start a congregation. Like there's complete like lack of like oversight.
Well, I mean, a lot of these if you want affiliation with a larger organization,
sure,
there's something.
But that's like totally unnecessary. You can like rent the back room of some, florist shop somewhere, right?
Yeah.
On the weekend when they're closed and do your little thing. And
he did apparently go to school. Like he went to apparently Christ for the Nations Institute in Dallas.
Yeah, whatever that is.
It's a spirit-filled Bible school, Frank.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
The article made it sound like it's specifically like a preaching school, right? It's about learning to be an effective preacher.
I like on the website for Christ for the Nations Institute, it says, apply now for our 1, 2, or 3 year programs. I'll take 1, please. I don't want 3 whole years of it.
Do you have like a 1 week trial period? Because
I'll do a week. I'll give you a week. We'll see.
His biography that he printed online on a defunct website for some nonprofit that he founded says that he spent time in Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, and the West Bank, where he, quote, sought out militant Islamists in order to share the gospel and tell them that violence wasn't the answer.
Listen, militant is, yeah.
What's good for me is not good for thee, I guess.
Right. It's one of those times when you're rooting for the Islamists to actually think violence is the answer.
Just in that moment, you mean?
Just in that moment, it would have saved us some headache over on this part of the world if they had just done their job.
Yeah. I mean, we're not for violence.
No, of course not.
You don't,
Only for humor purposes, and then
yeah.
secretly a little tiny bit inside.
No, this is a dangerous road that America's headed down, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we talked about it last week. Like,
Yeah.
just as violence starts to make its way into more and more into the political arena, it's a very scary and dangerous place for the country to be in.
Yeah, because this guy is it seems like he was probably out of work or like hadn't had good employment for a while.
Yeah.
But like we're talking about a 57-year-old dude.
Yeah.
This is not some desperate teenager who's like whatever. So the amount of rhetoric and the amount of like freak out that it takes to warp this guy's brain to the point where he is, and likely, I feel fairly confident saying this. We don't know for sure. I haven't read any manifestos that he has written, but I'm guessing that this was motivated by the fact that these lawmakers that he targeted, and there were other lawmakers that there was a list, a hit list, and all of them had voted for abortion rights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that was key to this.
Yeah.
Like it will come to light that he was, or maybe, they were supportive of trans people or gay people or whatever. But it is that rhetoric, and it's definitely like the religious rhetoric that whips, and frankly, even making a distinction between religious rhetoric and right-wing political rhetoric is almost meaningless at this point in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that rhetoric that, it's going to take a mind that's already feels a little bit broken and a little bit out of sorts, out to pasture, and it's gonna that's what's gonna turn somebody into a killer.
Yeah.
So great job, everybody.
Do you think there were conservatives that were disappointed that their hero shooter didn't look like Luigi Mangione? Like,
like we got the hot one.
We got the hot one.
And yeah, exactly. You got the ding dongs, the ones that look like the ones that look like the uncle that you keep your kids away from at the family events. That's what they've got. And we've got the ones where everybody's like, wait, how close of cousins are we? Anyway. There you go. If you would like to chime in about Vance Boelter. By the way, how delightful is it that now when you type the word Vance into Google, this is what comes up and not JD? I think that's fun.
Anything that downgrades JD Vance
is fantastic.
Is fantastic.
Yeah. So that's good. If you would like to write to us about this or anything that we've talked about, it's podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
To support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
This episode was edited by Roger Gowdy, and music was provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Hey, thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.